Chapter 91. There at our door again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 91. There at our door again. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations at the food court. Cheers. Wu Huan, you didn't look the least bit unhappy. Most people would have been furious if they were in her position, but Wu Huanyu was laughing and chatting as if the competition wasn't on her mind at all. Lin Fan laughed. Cheers. The new Voice 12 out of 24 selection stage show stopped midway due to an issue. To do a live broadcast required some courage, and the new Voice had decided to take that leap of faith for the first time. Whether an issue or hiccup would appear in the middle of a live broadcast was something that no one could be sure of. Only the bravest organizers would dare to do a live broadcast of their shows. The new Voice took pride in being fair and unbiased. They were the first to do a live broadcast of this genre of show, in hopes of raising their viewer ratings. The organizers didn't accept any sponsors, nor did they allow any contestants to share their tragic backgrounds during the competition. This wasn't a competition of who was more pitiful. This was a real competition of who had the best voice. Lin Fan didn't know how the organizers were going to deal with the situation, but Mr. Qi Ming had already made it very clear with his actions. He was obviously displeased with Ying Jin's actions. If 13 were to advance out of the 24, it would surely cause problems in future. Hence, the final decision was to have a rematch between Wu Huanyu and Wang Yuqian in 3 days. This was unfair to Wu Huanyu, but they had no other choice. Ying Jin had spoken and the organizers had to show respect for her decision. This was the best way to proceed with the competition. After all, the only other way was to let one contestant have a walkover in the next round. That would be unfair to all the other contestants. Lin Fan gulped a glass down and said casually, "From the way I look at it, you don't even seem angry, and even I look even angrier than you." Wu Huanyu pursed her lips as she smiled. Things have already happened. Dwelling on it would only make me unhappy. Even if I have to compete one more time, it doesn't mean I'll lose. That's true, Lin Fan laughed, but that Ying Jin clearly took sides with that Wang Yuqian. If in 3 days' time, Wang Yuqian uses another original song and doesn't commit any mistakes, that would be troublesome. Wu Huanyu's eyes widened. She seemed to be worried. Then, she laughed and said, "It's supper time. Let's not talk about this. Cheers. Tough lady." Lin Fan downed his cup in one go. This beer was quite appetizing. After 3 rounds of drinking, they had finished a bottle of beer each. Lin Fan wasn't affected much, but Wu Huanyu was getting tipsy. Her initially snow-white face was now bright red and she looked cute. "I'll get the bill." Wu Huanyu stood up, then, she tripped and stumbled forward. Lin Fan reacted swiftly and caught her in her fall. His arm wrapped around her waist. His first thought was that it was so slim and tender. "You're unstable after just 1 bottle. Let me get the bill instead." Lin Fan took out his wallet and despite Wu Huanyu's protests, he paid the bill. He drove her home and then walked her up the flat. He didn't loiter around in her house and nothing much happened. Once she was safe at home, he went back to his car and left. The next day, the internet was buzzing with excitement. The new Voice was watched by a large portion of people in the nation and it had high viewer ratings. Especially after the previous night's happenings, many people's attentions were drawn to it. The news. The first live broadcasted singing talent show receives praise from viewers. In the 12 out of 24 selection stage, the first draw occurs. Mentor Qi Ming drops the microphone in anger, blaming Ying Jin for unfair judging. Wang Yuqian screws up, but Ying Jin has her back. Wu Huanyu's perfect singing is beaten by an original song with a mistake. Mentor Qi Ming's remarks for Ying Jin on Weibo. This kind of person isn't suitable to be a mentor. The netizens couldn't contain their feelings. Not many people knew of Wang Yuqian and Wu Huanyu, but everyone knew of Ying Jin. She was disliked by many and to them, anything to do with Ing Jean had to be bad. Ing Jean is King disgusting. Watching this broadcast made me infuriated. There was an obvious mistake. Even the media representatives saw it, but Ing Jean wouldn't admit it. If I was Mentor Chi Ming, I would have given her 2 good kicks. She has oppressed countless people using her influence in the musical world. It's Ked up. She's getting more and more disgusting. I supported her in the past by buying her CDs, but now that she's successful, she's behaving so shamefully. These organizers must have been out of their minds. If it wasn't for Mentor Chi Ming, I would have stopped watching this show. How could they have such a disgusting hag as a judge? Mentor Chi Ming's Weibo. Once, there were 2 students who took an exam to decide who would be the class representative. One of the students, Hong Yi, had good relations with the teacher, while the other student was just a normal student. When the results came out, it turned out that Hong Yi had made a mistake and lost points, while the other student scored a perfect score. The other student should have become the class representative. However, the teacher commented that the Hong Yi had beautiful handwriting and decided to appoint him as the class representative. Do you think that this teacher deserves to be called a teacher? Do fairness and ethics still exist in such a world? The netizens replied to the post. I support Mentor Chi Ming. This kind of rubbish deserves to be shamed on the spot. Mentor Chi Ming is hinting at something. Do Wang Yuchen and Ing Jean have a close relationship? Even a blind person can see that Wu Huanyu should advance, but Ing Jean is so biased that she can't see it. I love how fair and unbiased Mr. Chi is. Every show that he appears on, I'll watch it. On Ing Jin's Weibo. She hadn't wanted to post initially, but she hadn't expected that the situation would get so out of hand. She was furious and she had started to hate Chi Ming. To explain herself, she decided to make a Weibo post. She wanted to justify her actions and explain why she gave such a scoring. However, the netizens didn't buy her reasons. They had already started flaming her on Weibo. Disgusting old hag. You think you're so great. You think the whole world revolves around you. You're a pile of dog sh*t. Your underwear must have a pile of dog sh*t in it and it must be embossed with superstar. I can smell your stench even through my screen. You're a dirty, rotten dog. You've cheated so many people in the past and you still want to cheat even more people. Do you think we're blind? Old demon. You're a curse to the world. Ing Jean looked at the comments and was already unhappy, but even if she wanted to retaliate, she couldn't do so. Cloud Street. Lin Fan was just sitting there with a piece of paper in front of him and a pen in his hand. He looked as if he was in deep thought. Fraud Tian stared at Lin Fan, not knowing what that kid was doing. Lin Fan was looking through his magical encyclopedia. He was looking for something. Entertainment class, singing class, song class. The song classification was filled with a plethora of choices. He couldn't read the whole thing. He continued narrowing down the category. Ethereal voice. Ethereal songs. In an instant, the number of songs was narrowed down. Lin Fan wasn't familiar with these songs, nor did he know where they were from. However, he trusted the encyclopedia. He knew that there wasn't any rubbish in the encyclopedia. Just when Lin Fan selected a song, Fraud Tian's voice rang out. Kid, it's bad. The reporters are at our door again. Lin Fan was stunned. He looked outside, D*MN, what do they want this time? Chapter 92. Master Lin is infuriated. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations. The surrounding shop owners all gathered together. What's happened now? Ever since Master Lin opened, our Cloud Street has been bustling with noise all the time. Do you really not know? Master Lin is the mysterious man who KO'd Ed Han Lu. Who's Han Lu? F*CK, I don't have time to talk to you anymore. I'm going to take a look. And maybe I'll get to appear on television. I'm coming too, wait for me. Since the Master Lin shop opened, Cloud Street, which already had a decent flow of people in the past, became even more lively. Their businesses were mainly affected by the department store at another street in front, but now, there were more people coming to Cloud Street and most of them came to look for Master Lin. Some were there for the fortune-telling and also to do some shopping at the same time. Some were there for the scallion pancakes and they enjoyed shopping as well. The reporters, with microphones in hand and cameras on their shoulders, swarmed the place like bees. They had finally given in. Everybody already knew who the mysterious man was, except the reporters. Moreover, even when people actively informed them, they wouldn't believe it. It was only then that they finally realized that the people were right. The doorstep was trampled on. There was a sea of reporters. It was as if these reporters were on drugs. They surrounded Lin Fan inside the shop, without leaving him any room to breathe. Lin Fan was furious. Fraud Tian was shocked. Quiet. Quiet. What are you doing? Lin Fan immediately climbed to the tabletop. He had no other choice. He had almost been shoved into the walls of the shop. Stop pushing. Hey lady, even if you can't raise your microphone, you can't just nudge my crotch. And you? Where are you filming? Can't we go outside and talk? It's so stuffy. Lin Fan was dumbfounded. What occupation had the scariest people in the world? It had to be reporters. Which occupation required the most dedication? The answer still had to be reporters. As long as there was news, it didn't matter where it was, how big the place was, or what kind of environment it was. Reporters had to get first-hand reports regardless. Are you the mysterious man who KO'd Ed Han Lu? Are you trained in martial arts? What do you feel about this matter involving Han Lu? The reporters continued to question Lin Fan without a care for what he had said. Lin Fan took a deep breath. Everyone, please exit the shop. Any questions will be answered outside. This place is too cramped. A human stampede could happen. After Lin Fan's words, and in order to get him to answer their questions, the reporters finally took a step back. The crowd was watching the scene curiously outside the shop, their heads bobbed up and down. It was as if it was a celebrity meet and greet. Which celebrity came? There are so many reporters. I don't see any celebrities. I don't know what's happening. This shop is Master Lin, right? Could it be that Master Lin is in the news again? We're here to buy scallion pancakes. Now that this has happened, will we still be able to buy them? The loyal customers were troubled. If it was just normal people, they could probably negotiate with them. However, these were reporters. Judging by the reporters' crazy work attitude, even if they were to protest, it would be useless. They might even appear in the news for it. Outside the shop, these reporters were giving Lin Fan a headache. If he had known that this would happen, he wouldn't have attacked Han Lu that day. Are you the mysterious man who KO'd Ed Han Lu? Asked a female reporter. Lin Fan was silent for a moment as the reporters awaited his reply. No, you've got it wrong, answered Lin Fan. How could that be? That was definitely you. We even have the picture, said the reporters. The surrounding shop owners interrupted. Master Lin, you should just admit it. This is a good thing. Lin Fan rolled his eyes. Good thing my A*S. If he admitted to it then, who knew what kind of trouble would come his way? Hadn't they seen that Han Lu was looking for him online? He wanted a rematch. This was a matter of life and death. If something happened, who would he cry to? He couldn't do it just for everyone's amusement or just to prove how great Chinese martial arts was. There were many mysterious characters in the past who never revealed themselves. Lin Fan had to be crazy to reveal himself. Han Lu had already been KO'd by him. There was no need for a rematch. Reporter. Master Lin, they all refer to you as Master. Could it be that they already know about your martial art abilities? Lin Fan pointed at his shop. I'm just a fortune teller and a scallion pancake seller. The reporter asked again, Master Lin, do you admit that you are the mysterious man who KO'd Han Lu? Lin Fan had nowhere else to hide. He nodded, yes, I am. I admit it. A commotion started. The reporters were hysterical. Finally, a piece of useful information that they could write about. The reporters asked, do you have any comments for Han Lu? He openly claimed that he wasn't in his best form that day and he wants a fair and square rematch. Lin Fan was cursing in his heart. Rematch my A*S, I don't have time, nor do I want to fight. I only do some fortune telling and sell some pancakes. I like to keep my body healthy. That kind of violent activity is damaging to the body. The reporters seemed to have caught onto something and they asked, when you say violent, you're referring to Han Lu's MMA, right? He has a violent fighting style. Lin Fan was annoyed. He wasn't even referring to Han Lu's fighting style. Even if that lady was a reporter, she couldn't just put words in Lin Fan's mouth. Excuse me, pretty lady. Please don't play this game of words. I never said anything about his fighting style, said Lin Fan. Those loyal customers who wanted to buy some scallion pancakes couldn't wait any longer. Hey reporters, hurry up and finish your questions. Master Lin doesn't have time to keep entertaining you. Yeah. Didn't Master Lin already say? He doesn't want to fight. Do you know why? That Han Lu already got KO'd by Master Lin. There's nothing left to settle. Master Lin, just tell it to them straight. Han Lu got utterly defeated. There's no reason for a rematch. F***ck. What a thing to say. Lin Fan was done. These townsfolk really knew how to stir sh*t, wouldn't that give the reporters more things to talk about? Indeed, the reporters had sensed something interesting. Do you know Master Lin very well? Of course. I'm Master Lin's loyal customer. How could I not know him well? A reporter asked, then why do you think Master Lin doesn't want a rematch with Han Lu? The townsfolk replied, didn't I say already? It's beneath Master Lin. Do you know how busy Master Lin is? There's nothing good that can come from fighting Han Lu again. Furthermore, he has already beaten Han Lu once. To do it once more would just be bullying. Master Lin is a great man. I don't even know who that Han Lu is. Master Lin, please carry on making scallion pancakes. We can't wait much longer. Yeah. Reporters, please excuse us. Lin Fan didn't want to talk to the reporters any longer, so he went straight to his stall. Lin Fan then exclaimed, there's no need for queue numbers today. Everyone will get scallion pancakes. The townsfolk were delighted. Master Lin is too kind. We're in luck. I love you, little boss. It's best if you leave now, reporters. Don't get in the way of our scallion pancakes, otherwise, you'd be messing with us. Seeing how the reporters were still bothering Master Lin, the townsfolk couldn't stand it any longer. It wasn't every day that they didn't have to take queue numbers, and yet, the reporters were spoiling this opportunity. The townsfolk's eyes blazed with hatred. When the reporters saw their expressions, they were frightened. What exactly is going on? This was the first time they had seen such a situation. Chapter 93. Master Lin Strikes Again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations. An hour later. The reporters were dumbfounded. How could Lin Fan's scallion pancake business be this good? The reporters then planned to interview Lin Fan after he was done for the day. But who would have imagined that the queue would keep on growing longer? How long was it going to take? Lin Fan was equally at a loss for words. Just how many ingredients had Fraud Tian prepared? The ingredients were not even showing any signs of running out. The long snaking queue was wildly terrifying. Lin Fan slipped away on a toilet break to get out. The crowd that was waiting for Master Lin to return started growing more impatient. He was nowhere to be seen. That Ned Master Lin. He ain't coming back. The people were all devastated that they couldn't get to eat Master Lin's scallion pancakes. The townsfolk who didn't get scallion pancakes stared at the reporters who were nearby. They thought it was the reporters who forced Master Lin to run away. Angry stares, grumbles, the reporters looked back at the stares from the townsfolk. They nervously swallowed hard. Arguing with the townsfolk was as good as asking for trouble. Hence, the reporters dejectedly slipped away. Fraud Tian looked at the situation unfolding in front of him and was left speechless. Had Lin Fan thrown all the responsibility onto him? Please call little boss. You work for him, right? Hurry up and urge him a little. The reporters have already left. Our scallion pancakes should be coming soon, right? Fraud Tian was surrounded by the crowd of people that were shouting and demanding that Lin Fan returned. Don't snatch my phone. I've tried but I can't reach him. Little boss turned off his phone. I couldn't reach him either. Trust me. Stop snatching my phone away. I spent a few $1,000s on that thing. The crowd started ringing Lin Fan. He really turned off his phone. Little boss really ran off. What a drag. Sobs, I thought today would be my lucky day. Turns out I didn't even get a chance. The surrounding shop owners all looked at Master Lin's stall in awe. Who would have expected that Master Lin would become this popular? He was almost as good as a national treasure. What they didn't know was that, behind the scenes, their much adored Master Lin was actually depressed. On the road. Lin Fan was driving his car, not knowing where to go, but one thing was for sure, he couldn't return to his shop. He knew that once he went back, he would be surrounded. He also didn't know what the reporters wanted. It would take a lot of effort to drive them away. Lin Fan sighed in frustration. If he had known what was going to happen today, he wouldn't have done anything in the first place. He had brought nothing but trouble upon himself. Isn't it obvious why fighting with Han Lu would be a bad decision? If I agree to fight just because someone challenges me, what would that make me? If there are even more troublemakers in the future, how would I be able to face them all? Wang Mingyang's company. What's wrong with this Ned Jean? Wang Mingyang seethed with rage. This billionaire tycoon dealt fairly with you, yet, you still dare take advantage of me. He wanted so much to punch a pillar. He had been played by Ing Jean. Chief Wang, calm down. Let me deal with this situation. Perhaps I can clear things up. Clear things up my *s. This old hag doesn't even respect me, what use is there to even try? Wang Xingyang said helplessly. He was at a loss for words. Ing Jean could be likened to an empress with a huge network of contacts. If she wanted to tear down a billion-dollar real estate business, there was nothing one could really do. Although she didn't have a lot of money compared to Wang Mingyang, she was a powerful figure in the entertainment industry. She knew many big shots. There was nothing much Wang Mingyang could really do to help himself. This old woman played dirty. I would have fully sponsored the new voice if I knew she was going to do this, and I would have asked her to get lost. Although Wang Mingyang was a billionaire, he was still young. When he got mad, all the expletives flooded out from his mouth. Knock knock, someone was knocking on the door. Chief Wang, there's some guy called Lin Fan at the door looking for you. The angry Wang Mingyang lightened up for a moment. Quick, let him in. Yes, sir. Soon, Lin Fan arrived. I had to make an appointment just to get in here. Lin Fan smiled as he walked in. Lin Fan didn't have anything to do, so he decided to pay Wang Mingyang a visit since he had never been here before. My men don't know who you are. But they'll know after today, Wang Mingyang said gleefully. He motioned to his men, remember his face. This is my brother. Please welcome him every time he pops by this company. Understood, Chief Wang. His men nodded before they took their leave. Wang Mingyang smiled as he patted Lin Fan's shoulders. How come you're so free to visit today? Sigh. Don't bring it up. Everything is so frustrating. Lin Fan uncourteously plopped himself on Wang Mingyang's seat, head in a flurry. Xiao Chen, Wang Mingyang's personal assistant, stared in disbelief. After a while, he finally understood that their bond wasn't just any ordinary friendship. Did you watch the competition last night? It was absolutely unfair. This Jean. I just want to throw melon seeds at her till she dies. Wang Mingyang said in a frustrated tone. Lin Fan laughed. How big is this thing that has gotten even you so worried? How can I not worry? Out of the 4 judges, she's the worst. Everyone knows that Wang Yuchen is her relative, Wang Mingyang replied. Chief Wang, Teacher Yang Chen has arrived, Xiao Chen said. Wang Mingyang nodded. Let him come in. I wonder what's going on. A man in his 50s walked in briskly. Chief Wang. Teacher Yang, what is it? Wang Mingyang asked politely. Yang Chen was a nationally acclaimed composer. He had written many songs which later became top hits. Wang Mingyang had hired him to undertake a task. It seemed that they were going to collaborate to compose something. But wasn't there insufficient time? If they wanted to create a classic within such a short time, it would be undeniably hard. Are you guys planning to write an original song together? Lin Fan asked curiously. That's right. The others are also doing the same, so I can't lose out on this. If Wang Yuchen comes up with another original song for the next round in 2 days' time and doesn't slip up, Wu Huan you would be in deep trouble. Shouldn't you also be nervous? Because no matter what you say, she's still your girl. Wang Mingyang explained. Lin Fan waved. If word of this were to get out, people might misinterpret your words. I'll need to discuss this with Teacher Yang. Please just sit or wait for a moment. Wang Mingyang replied. Lin Fan sat there, scribbling on a piece of paper while looking around at the interior of Wang Mingyang's office. One look was all it took to know that it wasn't any ordinary office. The furnishings and the interior were eye-catching, everything was made for comfort, with a pleasant environment. When Lin Fan heard that the outcome of the discussion wasn't to Wang Mingyang's favor, he chuckled to himself. Teacher Yang, you're an expert in this field, aren't you? Wang Mingyang said. Chief Wang, this isn't a matter of getting it as and when you want it. A song needs some soul in it, and that takes time. That original song which Wang Yuchen sang was painstakingly written with great effort and soul. They came prepared. What can we do about this then? We're going to lose this. I wouldn't say anything if we get into the top 3. But we won't even get past the top 12. Wang Mingyang was getting angry. 3rd place was good enough for him. But the problem was that they still had yet to get past the 12 out of 24 stage. Frankly, this competition isn't everything. If you want, you could invest in other things like movies or television series. Teacher Yang was also at a loss on what to do. He had no other choice. There wasn't much time left. If he were to casually compose and let Wu Huanyu sing a different song, it might do her more harm than good. The song had to match with Wu Huanyu's vocals. Wang Mingyang waved his hands. That can't be done. Movies and television serials aren't as popular as singing competitions. Teacher Yang heaved a loud sigh. I really can't be of any help then. The time is too tight. Moreover, composing and producing the song as well as getting the singer to familiarize herself with the song would require even more time. Even if you got the greatest composing minds in the country, the task still can't be finished on time. You've got to think of something. You're her music producer. Wang Mingyang was anxious. He wouldn't have lost much if he couldn't accomplish the task of making her popular. But he didn't want to concede when the situation was this unfair. The more injustice there was, the more he wanted to do something about it to make it right. Teacher Yang's face was blank. This task was no ordinary task. This task was too difficult. The quiet Lin Fan put down his pen and stretched, letting out a huge yawn. This is just a small matter. It's not like it's a life or death situation, right? Lin Fan said with a cheerful tone. In this situation, how can you not be nervous? Wang Mingyang said. Lin Fan picked up the 2 pieces of paper in front of him and handed them to Teacher Yang. Teacher Yang, could you take a look at these? Teacher Yang was suspicious, but he went up and took the papers from Lin Fan. What's that? Wang Mingyang asked. Lin Fan grinned. It's a song. Weren't you two fussing over this just now? Wang Mingyang looked stunned. You can write songs. Lin Fan looked out of the window. I had some inspiration, so I wrote it down in a song. Teacher Yang, could you take a look and tell me what you think? Wang Mingyang watched as Teacher Yang's expression slowly changed. However, he still had his doubts. Could it really be? Chapter 94. Autumn Sword Fish Killer, please continue with your show. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations. Lin Fan didn't know anything about songwriting, but the encyclopedia did. Anything was possible. The song cost Lin Fan 5 encyclopedic points. It was a rather expensive trade and he felt a bit of heartache. However, he knew that he had to do it. Ethereal voice. Difficult tune. Time constraint. As long as one had the encyclopedia, none of these was an issue. Song title. Sky. Music style. Chinese pop original singer. Fei Wang lyrics. Huang Guilin score. Yan Ming Huang composer. Tu Ying honors. Sky is original singer's best-selling record to date. Lin Fan didn't recognize any of the names written in the encyclopedia. He didn't have any knowledge of singing techniques or emotional expression when singing. However, everything was in the encyclopedia and all he had to do was to copy and replicate the contents. The rest of the situation should be handled by a professional. Everyone was silent. Teacher Yang's expression was lively. He grabbed the 2 pieces of paper as if they were 2 pieces of treasure. Teacher Yang followed the contents of the 2 pieces of paper and intuitively sang the tune of the song. Wang Mingyang, despite not being a professional, thought the tune that Teacher Yang sang wasn't too bad. It conveyed the emotions of the song. It's good. Teacher Yang looked at Lin Fan with shock and amazement. The song was really well written. It was not just any ordinary song. Chief Wang, you have such a talented music guru here. You have nothing to worry about. Wang Mingyang was stunned. He's a guru. That song is that good. Teacher Yang nodded. The lyrics, tune, and the music style are all appropriate for each other. In all my years in this industry, I've never seen something as detailed and rich as this. Moreover, this song fits the music style of Wu Huanyu. It's a good match. Wang Mingyang shook in awe. My brother, since when did you learn how to write songs? I have no idea. I was bored just now, so I thought that I would write something. Whatever works, let's use it, Lin Fan said. Teacher Yang was a famous music composer and had a good reputation in the country. He looked at Lin Fan suspiciously. With this kind of standard, you would be famous in the industry. With this kind of standard, there's no way I wouldn't know you. Teacher Wang had his suspicions. Lin Fan grinned. I'm not a composer. I'm only a fortune teller and a scallion pancake seller. Teacher Yang looked in shock. How can it be? This is my brother. He's a fortune teller and scallion pancake seller. Wang Mingyang said proudly. Teacher Yang couldn't believe it. Lin Fan only took half a day to write the song and he wasn't even in the industry. Lin Fan laughed softly. I think you guys better hurry and get everything sorted, and get Wu Huanyu to familiarize herself with the lyrics. Time is of the essence. Right. Xiao Chen, can you quickly arrange for the music team to come over and start preparations? Wang Mingyang said immediately. Yes, sir. Wang Mingyang patted Lin Fan on his shoulders. I never thought you'd know how to write a song. I was just dabbling. This song isn't written for you though, Lin Fan said casually. Wang Mingyang laughed boisterously. I understand. You wrote it for your sweetheart, right? I'll take my leave first. Your troubles are over, but mine aren't. Lin Fan waved as he left immediately. No. If we encounter any problems, I'd still need your help. Wang Mingyang shouted across the hallway. Lin Fan didn't even turn his head back. Teacher Yang is here. If there's anything, look for him. I have enough troubles of my own. We'll meet next time. Wang Mingyang shook his head. Wow, this brother of mine is such an able person. Teacher Yang, if you have any interest in getting your fortune read, you should look for him. He's quite accurate. Teacher Yang chuckled politely. Thanks for your goodwill, but I don't really believe in all of these. What a shame. Wang Mingyang didn't say any more. Lin Fan was such a talented fortune teller. If you didn't believe it, it was your loss. On the car. He definitely couldn't return to his shop in the meanwhile. Even if the journalists had left, the customers would never let him go. Looking at his phone. There were more than 20 missed calls from Fraud Tian. He had been spammed calling him. It was rather terrifying. Weibo. Trending. Last night's episode of The New Voice Teacher Qi Ming's Weibo had gotten on the trending page. Ing Jin's Weibo had gotten onto the trending page. Wang Yuchen's Weibo had gotten onto the trending page. Wu Huanyu's Weibo had gotten onto the trending page. Han Lu rejoiced as his scandal got kicked off the trending page due to The New Voice. Lin Fan opened Ing Jin's and Wang Yuchen's Weibo. Ing Jin was a very experienced first-class smooth talker, making herself look like she played fair. Wang Yuchen was a little arrogant. Although she didn't explicitly state it, her posts were all hinting that Wu Huanyu was not as good as her. Lin Fan shook his head in disapproval. Young people shouldn't be this arrogant. However, Lin Fan wasn't one to pick fights with others. He believed in cultivating one's own mental fortitude and looking at things with clear judgment. He opened his Weibo top friends list. Autumn Sword Fish Killer. These 4 big words would look ordinary to anyone else. But for those who knew him, he was a terrifying figure, and one wouldn't want to get on his bad side. Lin Fan. Wang Yuchen sang well. 10 seconds later. Lin Fan. Oops, I sent it to the wrong person. It's none of your concern. Ever since he had gotten discharged from the hospital, Autumn Sword Fish Killer put his whole heart and mind into his work. Apart from that, he only ever devoted his time to suppressing the fraud's Weibo account. Downstairs. Autumn Sword Fish Killer's boss looked on in horror as he saw Autumn Sword Fish Killer down 3 bowls of Lanzhou noodles. Autumn Sword Fish Killer rapidly downed his food as layers of flesh folded and jiggled upon one another. His appetite was appalling. Autumn Sword Fish Killer gave a twisted grin when he saw Lin Fan's private message. His eyes twinkled with delight. Autumn Swordfish Killer. Huh, she did sing very well. Lin Fan pocketed his phone when he saw that message. 10 minutes later, Autumn Swordfish Killer sent another private message to him. Autumn Swordfish Killer. Go look at her Weibo. It has already been thoroughly subdued by me. Are you angry when you see your beloved singer get crushed by me and that you can't do anything about it? Are you burning with rage? I, Autumn Swordfish Killer, will say it today. If you do not concede, you will die. Lin Fan read the message a few more times. The problem had just escalated. Lin Fan. I'm so scared. Crying emoji, ding, Autumn Swordfish Killer. Be afraid. Good night. The best part of the show is yet to come. Whatever you do to me, I, Autumn Swordfish Killer, will return it 100-fold. And Wang Yuchen will be your substitute. At that moment, Lin Fan went over to Wang Yuchen's Weibo page. He sighed in dismay. It was too terrible to look at. Autumn Swordfish Killer's troll army had overrun and defamed her Weibo page. However, this free favor wasn't all too bad. It looked like saving his life the last time hadn't been in vain. Autumn Swordfish Killer. Please continue your show. Chapter 95. Can we not talk about scallion pancakes? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations Wang Yuchen's Weibo. Autumn Swordfish Killer had completely overrun her Weibo. All the comment sections were flooded by Autumn Swordfish Killer's troll army. Autumn Swordfish Killer was really deserving of his reputation. When he gave the command, whatever came out of it was of a huge magnitude. Pretty face, nice voice. But too bad. You are liked by the wrong person. Autumn Swordfish Killer was beginning to feel a little guilty for trolling her, but he knocked himself back into sense as soon as he thought of persecuting the fraud. I don't care if you're innocent or not. Since you've walked down this path, you shall bear the wrath of Autumn Swordfish Killer. Suppress her. Suppress her completely. The entire troll army got into action and started searching for more information about Wang Yuchen. He was getting ready for war. As the chief of the internet trolls, he had power that no one else could comprehend. In a certain music studio, Wang Yuchen was practicing her new song while Ing Jin sat there evaluating her. Yuchen, your voice needs to be gentler for the third verse of the song, like this. Although Ing Jin didn't look like much, she was actually exceptionally talented. She could identify all the areas that needed improvement just by hearing once. Yuchen nodded as she sang the song again. There was definitely an improvement. Ing Jin was considered the queen of the music industry. She managed to get her hands on all the good songs. The songs that Wang Yuchen sang all came from Ing Jin's songwriter, who was a cut above the rest. The competition is in 2 days' time. No matter what, you cannot make any mistakes. If you don't make any mistakes, the victory will definitely be yours. Ing Jin said. She hadn't thought that Wang Yuchen would make a mistake in the round of 24, but she didn't care that other people called her unfair when she called for a tie. However, she didn't dare to give the points that would have made Wang Yuchen win. Otherwise, a huge uproar would have ensued. Okay. I got it, Auntie. Wang Yuchen replied. Call me teacher, Ing Jin reminded her. Wang Yuchen nodded. Yes, teacher. Good, take a break now. Ing Jin said. Wang Yuchen laid on the sofa. If she wasn't practicing her singing, she would be using her phone. At that instant, she cried out in surprise. Why are there so many negative comments on my Weibo? Wang Yuchen looked stunned. Before she had started practicing, she had posted a Weibo which got a few likes and encouragements. But after her practice, she found out that people were slandering her Weibo page. Ing Jin furrowed her brows as she looked at her page. This is the work of internet trolls. Even though she was experienced in this industry and occasionally encountered internet trolls, she was still stunned when she saw the comments. I told you guys. Jin wouldn't give up the idea of having a successor. It is no wonder that this is the reason. Just take a look at this link. What a dirty little secret. Jin and Wang Yuchen are relatives. Why can't Jin have some shame? One made a mistake, the other was perfect. Yet, they called for a draw. The result tells us the power of having a relative in the judging committee. These two people are very shady. She sang so terribly but she still advanced. Go home. Jin is such a B***tch. Looking at her makes me want to vomit. Autumn Swordfish Killer had mobilized the full force of his troll army and was looking for information they could exploit. What they found was that Jin and Wang Yuchen were related. This was big news. He couldn't hold this information to himself any longer and immediately released it into the internet. If you want to destroy someone, you've got to do it fast. With me, Autumn Swordfish Killer, around, the end can only be miserable. Wang Yuchen started getting anxious. How could they say that about me? Jin's blood was boiling, but years of dealing with her haters allowed her to remain calm. Ignore the trolls. Just practice your hardest and perform your best on the day of the competition. Just take all these comments with a pinch of salt. Wang Yuchen didn't have the resolve of Jin. She might have nodded her head in agreement, but she still felt perturbed by the comments on her Weibo. Autumn Swordfish Killer sat at home, scanning Wang Yuchen's Weibo. He gave a twisted grin. This is just the beginning, there's more to come. Ding, another private message. Autumn Swordfish Killer laughed at the sender and his belly started to jiggle. His fat buttocks were compressed to a clump as he enveloped the chair. Truth be told, his buttocks were the envy of many men. They were thick, fleshy, and soft. They were domineering. Opening the private message. Lin Fan. You're going overboard. You even dared to wreck a girl's Weibo. No wonder you can't get a girlfriend, loner. Autumn Swordfish Killer burst with rage as he saw the private message. His efforts had not produced the results he wanted, with Lin Fan just casually flipping him off. This B***starred even dares to talk back. Despicable. Absolutely despicable. Autumn Swordfish Killer. Get the F***ck away. Wang Yuchen will be absolutely wrecked by me. Just you watch. In the car. Lin Fan was innocent. This issue of Wang Yuchen's Weibo getting trolled was completely Autumn Swordfish's doing. It didn't have anything to do with him. Lin Fan closed his Weibo and continued driving. The internet was bubbling with activity. At first, it had been teacher Chi Ming's case of angrily leaving the stage after dropping the microphone in the competition, the new voice. The next was the little secret between Wang Yuchen and Jin. These two pieces of news were hotly discussed on the internet, with Han Lu's scandal closely following behind in terms of popularity. The headlines. Identity of mysterious man who refused to take up the challenge against Han Lu revealed. The mysterious man's occupation is. The netizens were enraged as they saw the headlines. What the heck was that? Holy sh**t. I never thought that the mysterious man would be this young. Brilliant. Who exactly is this guy who has people going nuts over his scallion pancakes? Can we discuss the issue of why this mysterious man refused the challenge against Han Lu? Are you stupid? Can't you see that this mysterious man has no time to fight since he's selling scallion pancakes? D***man, this is my first time seeing somebody give that kind of expression after eating scallion pancakes. Is it really that good? Can everyone be a little more serious? We're talking about whether Chinese martial arts are legit, not about scallion pancakes. Those scallion pancakes are out of this world. If you look closely at the presentation, the skill needed to prepare the shape of the scallion pancake, you can tell it isn't your everyday scallion pancake. You bunch of B** stards, can you guys stop talking about the bloody scallion pancakes? D**mn, which journalist took all these pictures? The expressions of the people look almost over-exaggerated. Everyone realized that the headlines and the comments were talking about completely different things. The subject was martial arts, but the comments were about scallion pancakes. Was there a mistake? Han Lu's Weibo page. The Weibo users were commenting on his page. Han Lu, you got KO'd by a scallion pancake seller. What do you have to say for yourself? I never thought that the expert martial artist would be a scallion pancake seller. 666 that you can't even defeat a scallion pancake seller, just give up fighting. Han Lu kept on waiting for the latest news. After seeing the piece of news, Han Lu was confused and, at the same time, seething with rage. D**mn. God D**mn. Scallion pancakes. Mystery man. The mystery man is a scallion pancake seller. Defeated and dismissed. These words were haunting Han Lu. At this moment, Han Lu burst with rage. Lin Fan was also dumbfounded when he saw the headline. Since when did I say all these words? All these D**ned reporters, making a mountain out of a molehill. Chapter 96. I'm reporting a fight. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations Chinese Martial Arts Association. Good, good. He's young and shows promise. What a talented young man. How can he only sell scallion pancakes? We must get him to join the association. This young man is so full of life, yet he is so low profile. Notify the guys over at Shanghai. We've gotta invite him to come over no matter what. We know. We've sent people already. Team Han Lu. This guy's is too arrogant for his own good. Although Brother Han was defeated by him that day, it's because Brother Han wasn't feeling right that day. How good can a scallion pancake seller be? It must be the press that over-exaggerated this situation. Shameless. Despicable. The general masses. 666. This young man knocked the living daylights out of Han Lu. The master presents himself as an ordinary person. There is no shame in losing. This is absolutely radical. I feel like eating the scallion pancakes after seeing them. Can we not bring up the topic of scallion pancakes? This discussion is on martial arts only. What a beautiful scallion pancake. Just looking at it makes my mouth water. Screw you guys. The next day. Cloud Street. Lin Fan sat in his shop. The people had accepted the events that had happened yesterday. Little boss didn't even hesitate to leave the shop. And he didn't even show up again. Fraud Tian emphasized his agony to Lin Fan, you've gotta at least give me a warning that you were going to make a run for it. Yesterday was absolutely terrible after you left. Lin Fan chuckled, the feeling of being mobbed by that many people must feel good, right? Fraud Tian rolled his eyes, feels good my A**s. My Oppo phone almost got destroyed by the people. Looking at the date, it seemed that Wu Tianhe and her father would arrive any time soon. But he wasn't sure if they were on the road or if they had already reached Shanghai. When Wu Tianhe arrives, the busy days would finally be over. Lin Fan's workload would decrease too. What's all this ruckus? Fraud Tian asked suspiciously. He walked over to the door and got a shock. Oh no, those guys are here. Lin Fan sighed in despair. Can't these people give me some breathing space? Outside. A group of reporters gathered. They were interviewing a man at that moment. I'm here to issue a challenge to him, Han Lu said aggressively. The reporters were getting excited. This was going to be huge news. Han Lu had come personally to issue a challenge. It was all up to Lin Fan to accept it. The surrounding shop owners all stood outside their shops. Looks like Master Lin has another busy day ahead of him. Busy my A*S. These guys are looking for trouble. Everyone, gather around. Master Lin is the superstar of Cloud Street, he won't let us down so easily. Come, come. Let's gather and get Master Lin to come out. The other shop owners who were outside their shops rallied together, cheering for Lin Fan to come out. Although Lin Fan had never really interacted with the shop owners before, he was still very well liked by the other shop owners. This was because, with Little Boss around attracting more customers, they also got more business. Fraud Tian was stunned. What do we do now? Lin Fan felt helpless. What else can we do? We'll see what they want. With the reporters egging him on, Han Lu stood at the door, his eyes bloodthirsty. He scanned the area before finally locking his stare at Lin Fan. You. Han Lu would never forget Lin Fan's face. He gripped a piece of paper with a challenge written on it. I challenge you to an official fight. The rules, time, and location are all up to you. An official fight. Fraud Tian lit up when he heard it. It had been so long since he had heard someone issuing an official challenge. With the change of era, the scene of fighting also changed along with it. Fights these days were done in arenas or cages, and Fraud Tian hadn't fought since in one of those before. The reporters snapped a few pictures, capturing the historic moment. Lin Fan casually sipped his tea as he replied, I do not accept your challenge. An uproar ensued. The reporters had never thought that the situation would end up like this. Han Lu furrowed his brows. Ever since he had gotten knocked out by this B****, he had become the laughing stock of the internet. If he didn't clear his name, he could never live with it. Why? Are you scared that I'll beat you until you're on all fours? Lin Fan looked at Han Lu and calmly asked, even if you beat me, what will you prove? I'll prove that you're just all show and no substance. I'll prove that you're a fraud, Han Lu replied. I'm only a fortune teller. Do I have to look for other fortune tellers to challenge them and prove that they are nothing but frauds? Don't talk so much bullsh*t. Do you accept my challenge? If you don't accept it, please announce in front of the reporters that you're just a fraud and not worthy to be my opponent, Han Lu rebutted. The crowd couldn't accept it. Why are you so aggressive? You have already been beaten by Master Lin once. Why would he want to fight you again? Yeah. You got knocked out that day. What else is there to prove? Master Lin doesn't have to accept your challenge. He can just knock you out right here and right now, and let you leave shamefully. You don't have to be so arrogant and aggressive. Yeah. Lin Fan felt helpless. Their comments were only making things worse. At this moment, a truck pulled up in front of his shop. Who is Han Lu? A loud booming voice emanated. A man wearing sports attire came out of the truck and walked over. The reporters rushed forward and crowded the man, throwing a storm of questions at the man. I am Li Dafei of Wushan. I challenged you on Weibo a few times, but you never responded since you only fight pushovers. So I've come down today to beat you, to let you know my strength. Some of the townsfolk didn't know who Li Dafei was, but some of the reporters did. Li Dafei of Wushan, a practitioner of the Iron Fist, with the ability to break rocks and crush cobblestones. He has received a few awards before and is truly a talented martial artist. How exciting! This is simply too exciting. Li Dafei versus Han Lu. I didn't think such a big thing would happen. Evidently, the appearance of Li Dafei attracted the attention of many reporters. Lin Fan was overjoyed. He never thought someone would save him from his predicament. Han Lu looked at Li Dafei before bursting into laughter. I don't recognize you at all. I don't want to fight you. Only him. Han Lu said as he turned his gaze back to Lin Fan. Li Dafei had brought a few of his disciples along to cheer him on. Han Lu, you're scared of my master, aren't you? My master challenged you over Weibo a few times, yet, you seemingly avoided him. You must be scared of him. Li Dafei motioned for his disciples to stop their provocation. I won't hurt you. I will fight you fairly. If you lose, you may never boast of your prowess again. If I lose, I will concede and become your follower. Han Lu hadn't accepted his challenge. The reporters all began to whisper amongst themselves. Han Lu can't really be this scared of Li Dafei, can he? It's hard to say. Li Dafei was featured on China Central Television before and has a few awards under his belt. He really is something else. Could what Li Dafei said just now be true? That Han Lu only picks fights with pushovers. That seems to be true. It really might be true. Li Dafei challenged him to fight over Weibo a few times, yet Han Lu just ignored him. I wonder if he has any secrets to hide, or if he wants to hype this fight up. It wouldn't make much news if he just got beaten. The young and rash Han Lu couldn't take all the speculation that was buzzing over his head. Fine, I'll fight you right here, right now. Han Lu snapped. Good. Li Dafei's muscles twisted and contorted like steel ropes as he ripped off his shirt. Although he wasn't exactly very young anymore, his body was still something other people could only dream of. Lin Fan and Fraud Tian looked at each other. This Li Dafei has true abilities, Fraud Tian quipped. Really? Lin Fan raised a brow. Fraud Tian nodded. The surrounding townsfolk were awestruck. D*MN, this guy's so old but he's ripped. So cool. Looks like this guy has real talent. Who is this guy? I did a search on him. He's one of a kind. He started training when he was a little kid, and can even break a cobblestone into half with his bare hands. I did a search on him too. He's quite extraordinary. Lin Fan whipped out his phone at that moment. What are you doing? Fraud Tian asked. I'm calling the police. As a concerned citizen, this kind of illegal fights in broad daylight should be reported. Fraud Tian was stunned. Hey, Chief Lu. I want to make a police report. There's a fight breaking out along Cloud Street and things are getting out of hand. Yes, it's disrupting the peace here and may be detrimental to the security around here. Great, you'll get a better picture when you get here. There are also reporters here. If news of this were to get out, I fear that the outcome won't be good. After hanging up, Lin Fan dragged a stool over and joined the crowd to watch the fight even though he was a little hesitant. Although Han Lu and Li Dafei were strong, they completely lacked any sense. Fighting in broad daylight. This was Shanghai, an international hub. If news of this gets out, the repercussions would be devastating. One should be humble and learn to cultivate patience and character. Chapter 97. An unforgettable scene. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations, aren't we being too treacherous? Fraud Tian asked. Not only did they call the police, they even moved their chairs and joined the crowd. They felt shameless. Lin Fan chuckled. That's wrong thinking. We are good, responsible citizens. We should immediately report anything that's against the law to ensure the security of the people. This ruckus is definitely detrimental to the security of the people. Makes sense. Fraud Tian nodded. The brawl between Han Lu and Li Dafei attracted quite a large crowd. The reporters were hungry for exciting news, and Lin Fan's decision of accepting or declining Han Lu's challenge was irrelevant now. Li Dafei's credentials were extraordinary, and it was definitely better than Lin Fan's. No matter who won or lost, it wasn't important to the reporters. What was important was that they got a good story out of it. They're fighting. They're fighting. Fraud Tian raised his voice. A huge commotion arose amongst the crowd. Li Dafei threw a punch with the ferocity of a tiger. Han Lu saw it in time and sidestepped, dodging it. The exchange between the two was exhilarating. The reporters were rapid, taking pictures of the brawl in front of them, and the people in the crowd were cheering them on. Exciting. Simply exciting. Li Dafei's martial arts style was that of the iron fist. It was heavy on strength but lacked in speed. Fraud Tian nodded his head in approval. Not bad. He really has abilities. Lin Fan watched in wonder. You're right. Han Lu's facial expression looks different after getting hit once. The people in the crowd watched the brawl intently. This match was just too wonderful. However, the fighting wasn't as smooth and elegant as the movies. It was messy when they fought, with blows going back and forth between both parties. Come on, master. Beat him up. Don't hit below the belt. You can do it, master. Come on, master. Li Dafei's disciples were all cheering him on, shouting at the top of their lungs. The reporters were on their toes, scurrying around, taking pictures and recording footage. Don't get too close. It won't be pretty if you get hit. Although the reporters wanted to get every single detail and angle of the fight, they didn't dare to go near. If anyone got hit, it would have a huge impact. Blood. Both parties were starting to bleed. Blood flowed down in a stream from both their noses. As it progressed, the fight became more violent. Mommy, why are the two uncles fighting? A young boy innocently tugged her mother's shirt, asking curiously. These two uncles are competing for their martial arts skills. The young mother replied, as she whipped out her phone, recording the fight that unfolded before her eyes. The guys at the side, don't push. The crowd was growing in size. The young women were pushed to the side, causing a young boy to drop his ball, which rolled on the floor. My ball. The young boy saw the ball roll from his hands. The young boy went forward to chase it. The ball rolled towards the vicinity of Li Dafei and Han Lu. To the young boy, the scene in front of him was terrifying. Hey, kid! Don't go, the people in the crowd screamed. The young mother's face turned colorless as she saw her kid chasing after his ball. Come back, she screamed. At that moment, the speed of Han Lu's punches increased, becoming more violent. Li Dafei kept on retreating, and he didn't notice the kid behind him. Lin Fan and Fraud Tian stood at the storefront. As they saw the scene unfolding in front of them, they were stunned as their expressions turned colorless. Fraud Tian was just about to take action when Lin Fan rushed out. No, the young mother screamed in terror as if something was going to happen. It looked like Li Dafei was about to knock on the kid. Suddenly, a hand grabbed the kid, and another hand was on Li Dafei's shoulders to prevent him from knocking the kid. Using Li Dafei's shoulders as a pivot, Lin Fan did a mid-air flip, leaping over the two people and landing behind Han Lu. He struck out with his leg, hitting Han Lu in his back, causing him to lose his balance and fall on Li Dafei. F***CK, 6666. How did he even do that stunt? Are we filming a movie? Master Lin is so cool. Fraud Tian looked on with relief, his expression awestruck. That stunt was almost impossible. Even he couldn't pull it off. The young mother went up immediately to thank Lin Fan. If he hadn't intervened, things would have gotten ugly. The kid who Lin Fan had grabbed while doing a mid-air flip was bubbling with excitement. He looked like he enjoyed it. Lin Fan shook his head. You've got to pay more attention to your kid next time. Thank you, the young mother thanked Lin Fan profusely while she hugged her kid tightly. The reporters looked at each other excitedly. You got that on camera, right? Yeep. This is too good. He actions were so cool. D**MN, Master Lin finally made a move. That stunt was too extraordinary. Everyone in the crowd, including the reporters, were in awe. They couldn't believe what they just saw. His actions were so smooth. If someone put that stunt in a movie, it would have been a good one. Clapping noises, thundering applause, they had been worried about the kid just a few moments ago. If Master Lin hadn't taken action, the little kid would have been in deep trouble. Getting hit by Li Dafei's iron fists would have been disastrous for the little kid, and if he got stomped by Li Dafei, the ending would have been gruesome. Suddenly, a reporter called out. "Quickly, record this." All the other reporters turned toward the sound, their faces looking stunned. Because of Lin Fan's skillful kick, Han Lu had landed on Li Dafei's body. Their lips were touching each other. Click, this moment would go down in history. Han Lu reacted as if he had seen a ghost, eyes staring in horror as he realized that he was on top of Li Dafei. He stood up immediately, wiping his lips. "Spit, spit," the crowd roared. Li Dafei and Han Lu were both stunned. It was almost unthinkable that two dignified martial arts experts would have such an unexpected embarrassing scene. "You!" Han Lu said to Lin Fan angrily. Lin Fan cut Han Lu short. "Don't you guys know that fighting in a public place is very dangerous? If you guys knocked this little kid down, you guys would be in a lot of trouble." Han Lu's face was red with rage. Looking at the little kid, he knew that he was guilty. But he had almost won that match just now, only to get stopped by Lin Fan. "Make way, make way." The police officers arrived. Lu Xiaotian came immediately with his men after getting the call. He was horrified to hear the report. Fighting in a public place with reporters. It was completely unimaginable and must be stopped. "Who's fighting?" Lu Xiaotian asked. The crowd pointed at Li Dafei and Han Lu. "Those two. We were having a challenge. We weren't recklessly fighting." Lu Xiaotian realized the person they pointed to looked familiar. Wasn't he Han Lu? He turned his head and looked at Li Dafei. Both of them had bloody noses, which was an obvious sign that they had fought. "Noel.N, take them away." Without another word, Han Lu and Li Dafei were taken into the police car. The reporters took pictures of everything. This was another piece of sensational news. Li Dafei's disciples knew that if they stopped the police officers from taking their master, they would be in trouble. Hence, they followed the police officers to the station to assist with the investigation. Lin Fan knew that he had to lie low, or the reporters would surround and bug him. Time to run. Chapter 98. The Peacemaking Kiss. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations. Master Lin has run away again, the people exclaimed. In just 2 days, Master Lin had escaped twice. The second time was as heartbreaking as the first time. At first, the crowd had been excited to experience the bustle and taste some scallion pancakes or have their fortunes read afterward. But now that Master Lin had run away, what the F***ck could they eat and how would they be able to have their fortunes read? At the police station, Han Lu and Li Dafei were stunned when they heard the outcome. "What? We have to be detained for 3 days." The investigating officer raised his head and said, "You threatened the safety of society and broke the law." The reporters were there too. "With the scale of impact of your actions, 3 days detainment is nothing." Another female police officer said, "You should really thank that person. If he hadn't brought the child away and something had happened, you would have had to take full responsibility for it." The investigating officer then added, "That wouldn't be as simple as 3 days. You are all adults and you're still fighting with each other like children. Doesn't your sparring have a proper procedure and location?" Perhaps only these 2 police officers were powerful enough to make these 2 people shut their mouths in shock. They didn't even dare to rebut. Li Dafei sighed and said, "How troublesome. I have to really thank him. If not for him, the outcome would have been disastrous." Han Lu was still upset, but he also was afraid of what would happen if he had really ended up hurting the kid. If both of you have no objections, please sign here, the police officer said. They both sighed as they signed the papers. These two experts were unlucky enough to be beaten in the nose, and they even ended up in the police station. Furthermore, they didn't know what to expect from the reporters' articles. In a fully equipped sound studio, Wu Huanyu had just finished practicing her song. Good, it's perfect, Mr. Yang applauded and said. He realized that Wu Huanyu's voice was very suitable for the song. He was even more impressed with Lin Fan now. The song was literally a match made in heaven for her. Wu Huanyu just smiled. She really liked the song too. Chief Wang, was this song really written by Master Lin? Wu Huanyu asked. Wang Mingyang nodded, yes. After he heard that you needed a song, he was so anxious that his face turned red. In the end, he wrote this song for you. Wu Huanyu was full of gratitude, so she whipped out her phone and tried to call Lin Fan to thank him. But then she realized that his phone was switched off. Wang Mingyang just smiled. He was trying to act as the middleman. But what surprised him was that Lin Fan actually knew how to write a song. That seemed so unbelievable. He was good at fortune-telling, making scallion pancakes, martial arts, and now even songwriting. It was really impressive. You must do your best tomorrow and win Wang Yuchen, Wang Mingyang said. Wu Huanyu nodded and continued to practice her singing. She was determined to not disappoint everyone, especially since Master Lin had personally written a song for her. The next day, something shocking happened during Han Lu and Li Dafei's showdown. The identity of the mysterious man is indeed Master Lin. Master Lin's true identity revealed. As Han Lu issued his challenge to Master Lin, Li Dafei came to interfere. In the end, both of them were arrested. Master Lin showed formidable skills and saved a child. Master Lin KO'd Han Lu and Li Dafei. The UC Breaking News department tried to fit in as well, but their headline was rather shocking. A kiss was all it took to resolve the conflict between Han Lu and Li Dafei. Several headlines began to appear on the internet. In the train, countless working adults were looking through their phones. The man in this video is too powerful. Such suave movements. If not for him, I think the child would have been killed. If such a heavy weight were to fall on this child, or if he got trampled on, the consequences would have been disastrous. What the heck is Han Lu trying to do? So what if he really beats him? I don't know, but the latest news I heard is that Han Lu and Li Dafei were detained for 3 days for fighting in public and causing a nuisance. Finally, things have seen the light. I've read up about this Master Lin. I wouldn't have known otherwise. Master Lin is a famous fortune-teller and scallion pancake vendor. He has helped a lot of people with his fortune-telling. There was a family which was able to escape a disaster after consulting him. Also, his scallion pancakes are freaking delicious, but they are only limited to 10 pieces a day. The queues are insane. D*MN. Is that really true? He's so awesome. I have to take a look at too. Recently, the news revolving around Han Lu had been viral, and most of the popular news had something to do with it. There were supporters of Han Lu and haters too. But even if the fight really happened, it would have been great. After all, in such a society, most people would only talk and not do anything. The main problem was that Han Lu had talked too much nonsense and he was too arrogant, which resulted in him having so many haters. Lin Fan had been busy answering calls all morning. Yan Shuren said, "Young Fan, you're 2D*MN awesome." Lin Fan replied, "Gotta stay low profile. This matter is giving me a headache. I hope to settle this matter as soon as possible. But I'm serious. You're really 2D*MN amazing. Don't say that. I gotta be extra careful today. You have no idea how crazy these reporters are. They'll constantly pester you until they get the news that they want. Wang Mingyang. Brother, you're really impressive. In future, you can be my lead actor when I decide to make an action film. Which kind of action film? If you're referring to those type of action films, I can't do it. Hey, you can act in any type of action film. I can make you the lead actor with just a word. You can't waste such a talent. You gave him such a good beating, and if not for you, the kid would have been in trouble. I just did my best. I doubt there will be anything major coming up so soon. This incident can finally be resolved. How will it be resolved? Ednel.co. The two culprits were detained. Of course, these things will stop happening. That's true. Han Lu and Li Defei were being detained at the police station, and the situation was gradually getting heated up. However, the focus was still on Lin Fan. There was a crystal clear video that captured the entire scene of Lin Fan saving the child. On Weibo. Master Lin is so awesome. I'll give him full marks for what he did. Han Lu got KO'd twice by Master Lin, and everything ended when that had happened. All of you were focused on Master Lin, but I was looking at Han Lu and Li Feida when they kissed. It was ground-breaking and heart-breaking at the same time. I was laughing at that scene. It's become a sticker on WeChat now. Master Lin is a pro at fortune-telling, making scallion pancakes and even kung fu. One day, he's going to be able to fly. I suspect Master Lin is actually an alien, and I suggest that we dissect him immediately. At that moment, Autumn Sword Fish Killer was up early for training, but he stopped when he watched the video. He felt very uneasy. Sigh. Autumn Sword Fish Killer sighed as his fat body laid on the chair. Although he was a man, the two lumps of meat on his chest were bigger than any other woman's, and they were sagging so close to his stomach. God is so unfair. Even a fraud like him is blessed with such good looks. Furthermore, he even knows kung fu. Why am I born with such a look? I hate myself so much. Autumn Sword Fish Killer then remained silent for a while before he raised his head and typed rapidly on his keyboard. If someone were to see the speed at which Autumn Sword Fish Killer was typing at, that person would definitely be shocked. His fingers were like the legendary phantom butterfly fingers of keyboard warriors. Chapter 99. F** King Godly Scallion Pancakes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations. A large number of people had gathered outside the shop. He's Master Lin, the one that KO'd Han Lu and saved the kids. He's so young. If you hadn't mentioned it, I can't even tell that he has such capabilities. What does this shop do? I heard it's for fortune-telling, and he sells scallion pancakes as well. But to be able to KO Han Lu, he must really be something. That's a wide range of professions. To be fair, the moves that I saw in the video were just too cool. I came over to take a look at the legendary Master Lin. With such capabilities, why would he sell scallion pancakes and red fortunes for a living? Furthermore, fortune-telling is such a dodgy profession. Hey! What do you think the large crowd is here for? Lin Fan just sat in the shop while Fraud Tian pretended to be in a daze. It was early in the morning and they had just opened their shop, but there was already a large crowd. These people weren't there for fortune-telling or scallion pancakes. They were there to verify that Lin Fan was indeed the one that KO'd Han Lu. Fraud Tian was extremely excited, as he'd never have expected to witness such a scene in his life. If he was lucky, he might even attract a pretty woman. After all, there might be pretty women who were blind enough to fall for him. Meanwhile, Lin Fan was feeling a little helpless. This was the consequence of becoming famous. He didn't even know where these people came from, and they were looking at him as if he was an animal. If he were to chase them away, he'd be at fault too, since the road didn't belong to him. But Fraud Tian's try-hard actions really left Lin Fan speechless. They were being observed like animals and he could still act like he knew what he was doing. How admirable. The people who didn't manage to get a hold of Master Lin surrounded the shop. Little boss, this time, you can't escape anymore. Even if he wants to escape this time, he won't be able to. Guys, please be cautious. We must fix our sights on Little Boss. Definitely. If we let Little Boss escape, I would eat sh*t immediately. We are all your loyal fans, you can't hurt our feelings. The passers-by that were walking past the shop were all dumbfounded by what they were witnessing. What are you guys doing? Why would you call Master Lin Little Boss? A passer-by who was there to see Master Lin asked. As of then, Master Lin's scallion pancake customers were all regulars. You must be new here. Little Boss's scallion pancakes are just so heavenly. Then, an old customer nudged him and said, don't talk about it too much, there are already so few scallion pancakes. If we have to compete against them for it, things would become even worse. Yeah, that's right. We can't say too much. Meanwhile, a newcomer just smiled and said, we're not here for scallion pancakes. I've been to Taiwan before and I've already tasted authentic scallion pancakes. I can still remember the taste. The old customers just laughed but they felt disdain for his words. How could the pancakes from Taiwan beat Master Lin's pancakes? They were worlds apart. Meanwhile, Lin Fan had no choice anymore and he said, give out the number tags and select people. Fraud Tian nodded and gave out the number tags quickly. By then, he was already familiar with the entire procedure. Numbers 6, 11 and 35. I've been chosen. I've been chosen. Congratulations, congratulations. Bro, are you selling the number tag? $1,000. No, I would have sold it to you a few days ago. But the problem is that I haven't eaten them for days. The crowd was stunned. Everything seemed like it was staged. They had to queue up for scallion pancakes and someone even offered $1,000 to buy a number tag. That was just too much. Hey, where did the sellers go? Bro, aren't you a reseller? Just sell the number tag to me. Master Lin's shop was considered the most mysterious place on Cloud Street. Such a small shop could even attract a large crowd of resellers. Nobody would have believed it if they were told this. The man who was being held back was actually the main reseller of Cloud Street and the people beside him immediately came to ask him for a price after seeing that he had gotten a number tag. I'm not selling the tag today. I have to save it for myself, the man shook his head and said. As a reseller, he was very opportunistic and he had discovered this business opportunity since a long time ago. But he had tried the scallion pancakes once and the magical taste of the pancakes had lingered in his mouth until today. He felt as if he could never part with the scallion pancakes again. A fashionable teenager managed to get the scallion pancake of his dreams. He brought the scallion pancake to his nose and took in a deep breath. He looked extremely satisfied. It's delicious, it's so delicious. After taking a bite, he raised his head and closed his eyes. He felt as if he was going to soar into the sky. The deliciousness of the pancakes exploded inside his mouth. No matter how many times someone ate it, he or she would still be awestruck by it. Delicious, the fashionable teenager opened his eyes and sounded as if he was having an orgasm. Little Boss's scallion pancakes always reveal a person's true expression. Although the expression looks exaggerated, only those who have tasted the pancakes before know that it's 100% real. If only Little Boss sells pancakes for a living for his entire life, that would be so awesome. These pancakes are priceless. I don't even feel like selling them anymore, regardless of the price. The people who were queuing up for the pancakes weren't surprised at what they had witnessed. But for the passers-by, they were extremely shocked at the reactions of those who had eaten the scallion pancakes. It was as if they had not eaten for years. Lin Fan shook his head as he looked at the exaggerated expressions. These people had all been seduced by the powers of the scallion pancakes. They had all gone mad. After a short while, all 10 pancakes were sold out. He was secretly hoping that people would take the initiative to try to understand the content on the poster. But nobody bothered to look at it, and those that had already read it and given Lin Fan encyclopedic points before were no longer useful. He couldn't gain encyclopedic points from them again. Delicious. Today has been a pleasurable experience. Little Boss's culinary skills are unbeatable. It tastes better than anything else on this earth. At a distant place. Dad, the business there is doing way too good, Wu Yulan said. Wu Tian he just nodded and said, don't cause trouble in future. We'll stay here obediently. We can only depend on Master Lin to change your fate. Wu Yulan nodded and said, Dad, I know that. She knew her own fate. They had faced a small problem on their way back home. She had been feeling a little unwell when they reached home, but thankfully, it was nothing serious. After getting back home, Wu Tian he quickly settled the things he needed to do and donated the things that he had obtained through evil means. If not for the memories that he had with the house, he would have donated it as well. As for money, he didn't have much left. He only kept a small sum for his daughter's marriage and his daily expenses. He knew that he had been wrong in the past, but it wasn't too late for him to repent now. Master Lin, Wu Tian he said as he walked over with his daughter. Lin Fan finished preparing the scallion pancakes and looked at Wu Tian he. He was ecstatic. His life would become so much easier from then onwards. Chapter 100. Joining the association. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations in the shop. Wu Tian he asked, Master Lin, what will I be doing daily? In order to change his daughter's fate, Wu Tian he was willing to give up everything he had back in Lianzhou as long as he could let her have a good life. Lin Fan smiled and said, it's simple. Just read the fortunes of 10 people every day. Wu Tian he was also a formidable fortune teller, otherwise, he wouldn't have become the president of the Metaphysics Association. Although this appointment didn't seem like a major one to the commoners, he was like a god to those that studied metaphysics. I understand, Wu Tian he nodded and said. He read the fortunes of very few people these days as he was afraid that he might get into trouble if he revealed too many secrets. However, now that Master Lin had requested his help, he did not decline his request since he knew that Master Lin had no intentions of harming him. If you have trouble with some people, you can just speak to me. I will read their fortunes for you, Lin Fan said. Wu Tian he had no encyclopedia and naturally, he wasn't able to deal with major issues like Lin Fan. However, he should have no problem resolving minor ones. Wu Yulan stood there and asked, what about me? Lin Fan looked at Wu Yulan and paused for a moment. She was really pretty and it would do no harm for her to just stand around in the shop. It's even simpler for you. You just have to do some housekeeping to keep the shop neat and tidy. Also, you have to welcome the customers when they enter the shop. Other than that, there's nothing much for you. 3 pages of the encyclopedia had already been unlocked and the fortune-telling task had already been completed. But the shop had already been opened and it wasn't logical for him to close the shop so soon. On lucky days, he was able to gain 1 or 2 encyclopedic points from making scallion pancakes. Although it wasn't much, it served as a sustainable influx of encyclopedic points. Furthermore, Lin Fan did not want to work so hard for the encyclopedic points. He wanted to have a peaceful and carefree life. Any page of the encyclopedia was sufficient to grant Lin Fan immense power. If he were to specialize in a particular one, who knew how powerful he would become? But what's the point of working your A*s off when you could just have a simple life and be happy? Lin Fan was having such a carefree and happy life. Wait for me, Lin Fan said. Then, he rushed out of the shop and looked at the poster for a short while. He was holding on to a small signboard as he rushed out of the shop. Lin Fan placed it on the table and looked at it with a face full of satisfaction. "Look at it, what do you think?" Lin Fan smiled and asked as if he was very proud of what he had done. Fraud Tian and the rest took a good look at the signboard. Master Lin's first disciple Wu Tian, he president of the Metaphysics Association. Wu Tian, he looked at it and smiled. He was already so old and he was not bothered by the nickname that he had been given. "I think it looks good," Wu Tian, he said. But if his followers were to find out about this, they might become so enraged that they would vomit blood. They had just gotten a new grandmaster without any prior notice. Furthermore, Lin Fan was so young. If it was really true, they would need to call Lin Fan grandmaster in future. This was unacceptable to them unless they wanted to disrespect their master's teachings. Fraud Tian was in awe as he witnessed what had happened. Then, he pestered Lin Fan and said, "What about me? There is one for you. Don't be anxious, look," Lin Fan said as he took out another signboard. Fraud Tian smiled and said, "Not bad, this signboard looks good. Master Lin's second disciple Tian Hanming, member of the Master Lin shop, Master Wu, we're going to be fellow disciples from now on. Please teach me your ways," Fraud Tian said. Although he was full of tricks and lies, he was earnestly interested in fortune-telling. Although Lin Fan wouldn't teach him anything, learning from Wu Tian he was not bad at all. Perhaps he would have the chance of becoming a master fortune-teller in future. Wu Yulan sighed. If those uncles and aunties see this, they would definitely cry. Her dad had become someone else's disciple in such an unofficial way. Furthermore, her dad didn't even look unhappy about it. Wu Tian, he wasn't bothered by it as he was convinced of Master Lin's abilities. Even if he really became the disciple of Master Lin, he would have no objections. Lin Fan clapped and said, "All right, that's it for our small group. Let's do a good job and we can split the year-end bonus." "Oh, right. This is your tag. Just hang it on yourself." Lin Fan took out another tag and passed it to Wu Yulan. Wu Yulan, receptionist for Master Lin's shop, when Wu Yulan saw the tag, she was speechless. Lin Fan was in a good mood. "All right, as my workers, you will have welfare benefits. Today, I will let you taste my famed scallion pancakes." He immediately went to the cart and made 3 scallion pancakes. Even though they tasted heavenly, he didn't even want to eat them. Even he wouldn't be able to resist revealing those ridiculous expressions if he ate them. Fraud Tian said, "After so long, I haven't tried these scallion pancakes yet. Usually, when I see people eat them, it looks like they're extremely tasty." "Come, have a try," Lin Fan said confidently. Wu Tian, her daughter, and Fraud Tian took a good sniff of the pancakes before they took a bite. Then, the shop became extremely silent while Lin Fan proudly watched their expressions. Wu Tian, he suddenly became invigorated. It was such a unique feeling and he started to think of beautiful memories. Patter, 2 drops of tears dripped down. Fraud Tian exclaimed, "These pancakes are too good. I. He couldn't even finish his sentence as he lowered his head and froze. The taste of the pancakes made him think of the times when he practiced martial arts under the hot sun with his father. Although he got beaten up quite badly, those were the happiest days of his life. Wu Yulan just started to blush, as if she was in a burning room. Lin Fan just laughed as he thought, "This is my ultimate move that nobody can escape from. The magical scallion pancakes. From now on, the fan base of my scallion pancake lovers will have 3 more people." Then, a noise came from outside. "Master Lin, someone's looking for you." "I brought him here for you." A shop owner brought someone into the shop. Lin Fan asked, "You are?" He really didn't know who it was. As the person came in, he immediately grabbed Master Lin's arms and said, "Nice to meet you, Master Lin. I am Jiang Fei, from Shanghai's Chinese Martial Arts Association." Nice to meet you, Lin Fan said politely as the other party was also courteous. Have a seat, Lin Fan added. However, Fraud Tian and the rest were still dumbfounded by the scallion pancakes and they were rooted to the seats. Hence, there weren't any empty seats left. Jiang Fei looked at the three of them and said, Master Lin, it's okay. I'll just stand and talk. Master Lin nodded and said, Alright, what are you here for? The Shanghai Chinese Martial Arts Association was part of the National Chinese Martial Arts Association. It was a regional division. The headquarters were located in the capital and Lin Fan could roughly guess what was going on. Although Lin Fan was a young chap, Jiang Fei did not belittle him. They had studied the video for a long time and they concluded that his skills were indeed real. Then, Jiang Fei said, Master Lin, on behalf of the Shanghai Martial Arts Association, I hope you can join us. Lin Fan was elated. He hadn't expected it to happen just as he had thought. But he was in a dilemma as the Chinese Martial Arts Association didn't have a very good reputation. I know this may be a little too sudden but we are sincere in recruiting you into our big family, Jiang Fei said. Lin Fan hesitated for a moment, then said, I don't have any real skills and besides, I have a proper job too. You're too modest. If you don't have real skills, then nobody does. Furthermore, we won't interfere with your work. You can come down to our martial arts association anytime. It's located in Shanghai. It's pretty nearby, Jiang Fei said sincerely. He was very impressed by Lin Fan's skills. At the same time, he was surprised at how humble and modest he was. Since he had already put it that way, what else could Lin Fan have said? Besides, it wouldn't bring any harm to him if he were to join the Chinese Martial Arts Association. Everyone had the responsibility to raise awareness for their national culture and to preserve it. He could even earn encyclopedic points from it. Lin Fan replied, Sure, but if there are any activities and I'm not free on that day, I won't participate in them. Jiang Fei was ecstatic, You don't have to worry about that. The association will not force you to go for them. Then, Lin Fan filled in the form with his particulars. Jiang Fei was extremely happy to have recruited him. Master Lin, when the documents have been processed, I will bring the certificate to you, Jiang Fei said excitedly. When Jiang Fei left, Lin Fan just smiled to himself. He really hadn't expected himself to be recruited by the Chinese Martial Arts Association. It was a pretty great feeling. But as he turned to look at Fraud Tian and the two other people, he was taken aback. Just a single scallion pancake made them act as if they had eaten sleeping pills. Unbelievable.